Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Industry Distilled. I'm Elaine Duff, along with Jason Littrell.
Hi.
Our guest this week is the co-founder of Tipping for Equity and the new head distiller apprentice with the Nearest Jack Advancement Initiative, or NGAI. Please welcome the lovely Tracie Franklin.
Hello, thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome.
So lovely to have you here with us. So when we're not here, you can find us on Instagram, among other places. Myself, I'm at Duff on the Rocks, Jason at Jason Littrell, and Tracie at Spirited_Tracie. Or check out the video of the show on the Industry Distilled Facebook page. So here are the headlines for the week of September 14th. The original craft whiskey, Hudson Baby Bourbon's first line extension ever. Constellation Brands acquires Kentucky-based craft spirits producer Copper & Kings. The world-famous Dante is now selling canned cocktails nationwide. New York City restaurants are allowed to add a 10% COVID surcharge to your bill. Yay. UK retailer Majestic has launched its own diversity in wine scholarship. All right, so I'm going to start it off. The original craft whiskey, Hudson Baby Bourbon, is shaking things up. Hudson whiskey is for those of you who might not be aware, Hudson whiskey was one of the original American whiskeys that hit the shelves in 2006. They were at the forefront of the craft spirits movement in the US, and they came into the industry with full guns blazing, utilizing 3 to 14 gallon barrels and sonic maturation to help agitate their barrels, which aged their whiskey faster at a premium price. Sorry. And it really did. Have you ever seen those tiny little bottles? Yeah. And they were quite expensive. In 2017, they lived the American dream and were purchased by one of the big guys, William Grant. Now they're starting to shake things up once again with their first line extension in 7 years, starting with a Scotch barrel finish rye expression called Backroom Deal, made from a mash bill containing 95% rye and 5% malted barley. Backroom Deal has been finished in American oak barrels, were used to mature peated Scotch whiskey. That sounds quite good. Yeah. Second, they have created new recipes for some of their original release recipes, which I'm kind of happy about because, to be honest with you, I didn't really like the first ones to start with. But that's just my opinion. Alongside the release of the new whiskey, Hudson has updated the recipes and names for their original whiskeys within the portfolio, including its flagship Baby Bourbon, which is now to be called Bright Lights.
Wait, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Name. Yeah, I love Hudson Baby Bourbon. I thought that was such a great
I thought that was adorable.
It really was.
And it came in the 375s. It was like, perfect.
But they're no longer in the 375s, right?
Oh.
they're in 750 bottles now. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
They're
all grown up.
Bright Lights. Bright Lights. Yeah.
Sounds like the name of a shitty band.
Yeah.
Or something iconic that New York is iconically known for.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Thank you.
We were.
Thank you for making it positive. Okay.
Well spotted, Tracie. Well spotted. Bright lights in the big city.
We're bright lights. Thank you, New York.
Their Manhattan has been renamed Do the Rye. Wow, somebody was really smoking some dope when they put these together. And their season release, Hudson Whiskey, has reimagined seasonal release Maple Cask Rye as short stack. Well, that's actually kind of cute. A straight rye whiskey finished in maple syrup casks. Each expression in the company's portfolio is bottled at 46% ABV. So yeah, I'm actually I want to taste the new ones because I didn't hate the old ones, but I didn't really love them either. They always felt a little too bold and a little too ambitious and a little too much oak for me. Yeah. Even though I loved Gable and Enzo.
Still do. Absolutely.
They're amazing. And I actually just passed by his little store the other day. I was up in the woods. Unfortunately, he wasn't there. And
that's like right next to my house, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah, I live up in Pleasant Valley.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was up there and I for lunch with other friends. And we passed by. I was like, oh, look at it. It's so cute. So he's living the dream of making spirits and selling them at his little general store. So Tracie, right? So as you've managed to taste many spirits in your life. So
yes, I've been really lucky.
Yeah. So have you had a chance to taste these new recipes yet?
So I've actually tasted quite a few. but they were in the works. So I don't know the final iteration necessarily that I've tried that specific recipe, but I have tried what they were thinking about doing and some of the cool things they were playing with. And I'm excited for it. I think that there's some consistency that may be brought in by having William Grant there. But I think they're just trying to, again, kind of recreate this brand, make it a little bit newer, really associate it with New York City and New York State as a whole versus just Hudson Valley, which not everyone is aware of. So I don't know how these changes will be perceived, how they will be, really thought about within the industry and outside by consumers. Currently, it's not going so well, which makes me a little sad for them.
You got my hot take. I mean, I had never heard of this before she said it. So.
And they also have new branding, which is, very clean, very bold, very much inspired by like sort of subway art and that sort of thing, which for some people feels too simplified. It doesn't feel as rural, like agricultural. It's kind of losing that tie. So I think it'll be interesting to watch how the brand, how this new kind of path forward for the brand is being laid out and how consumers react to it and what they think about, how does everyone who is a fan of like, are they going to adjust with the new path? Are they going to adjust with the new?
I know. And I wonder if Gabriel and Ralph are just like crying right now going, oh, what'd you do to our brand? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's totally different. It is very different.
Yeah. I mean, I've been to their distillery and it's lovely up there.
It's beautiful.
It really is such a stunning place to visit. And I highly recommend anybody's listening to really take a trip up there. There's quite a few distilleries up there. The Prohibition distilleries up there as well. And
Dutch's, Vale Fox. Yeah, there's a ton of distilleries up here.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice. So, and they're such good people. So I know that hasn't changed. And, but yeah, so I guess we'll see. As I said, I wasn't the biggest fan. I loved the people. I didn't always love the whiskey as much because it was a little too bold for me. But yeah, so I'm hoping, we'll see. I'm looking forward to tasting them.
Yeah.
So also speaking about shaking things up. So recently you've been accepted into the Nearest and Jack initiative. So I would like to hear more about that.
Woohoo! Yeah, so I was able to announce finally last week. It's actually something I've been working on for a little while. So basically, we all know that the whiskey industry has an issue with diversity. The entire industry around the world of really being representative of the people that are drinking it, that support it. And that's something that I saw many years ago. And that was when Jennifer Wren and I created Whiskey, which is a whiskey marketing company to increase diversity. We had to let that go and join brand side. And I think that what's happening is while shifts have been made, and I think that we're getting a bit more of gender equity, that's definitely something that I've seen grow in the last 10 years. The race diversity, like it's still not there. And Fawn Weaver was somebody who's very aware of that. And as a CEO and somebody who was looking to hire and create a company that was the same, that she wanted to actually create a company with the same sort of diversity that is seen here in America. And she was having trouble finding candidates who were appropriate, who have had the same experience, the education, the access to all the things that we are very lucky to have had. Not every ethnicity gets the same access. So she partnered with Jack Daniels, went to them and said, hey, this is the issue I see, and here's how I see a solution. And what they've done is three-prong. They are creating a distillery. The distillery is going to be in Tennessee, Motlow College. It is the Nearest Green School of Distillation. So people can actually go from, high school or college, whatever it is. Maybe an advanced degree. I'm not actually sure what the degree is yet. It's getting approved and they're laying down the curriculum. So that's about a year and a half out that will be available, but they're so basically educating people to come directly into the industry. They are also creating a small business incubator. So distilleries that are owned by people of color that need a little help with their marketing, maybe access to suppliers, distribution, whatever it may be, and giving them that connection, which is really a wonderful thing when you have someone like Jack Daniels and Brown-Forman behind you. And I am part of the Leadership Acceleration Program. So taking leaders of color who are already in the industry, already pursuing their dreams, and asking them really where they want to end up. And I want to be in the process. I want to be in production. I want to distill. I want to make whiskey. I am all about flavor. Yeah. And this is something that not everyone knows about me, but it's about 6 years ago, I was working with Dave Pickle and went out to Whistlepig and kind of helped them get off the ground and was learning from him and reading books and really studying. And I wasn't able to pursue that at the time. But I always had this drive and this belief that I was here in the whiskey industry to change the face of whiskey. And I've tried to take every opportunity that exists to be that representation, to really kind of carve out a new path for other people of color within the industry. And at that time, distilling wasn't the path. It wasn't the way that I was able to move forward. But I was able to move over to ambassadorship, where representation was vast. Like for me, where that representation produced a vast platform is more what I wanted to say.
Yep.
So a lot of people were able to see me, to know my name, and to realize whiskey is for them. Mm-hmm. That there are no closed doors, there are no rules, there are no eligibility sort of things that you have to be able to drink whiskey. And especially when I moved into Glenfiddich and the single malt Scotch world, being a woman of color was such an oddball move. But it also changed people's perception about who could be a Scotch drinker. And that was all that I wanted. And this opportunity came about, and I had to jump, because this is now another opportunity for me to step forward and to change the industry, especially here in the United States, which I love. You know, it's American whiskey industry. I get to be one of the first people to run this program and to kind of create this new avenue for people of color to step into leadership positions within the industry. Mm-hmm. But what's also wonderful is we're doing this based on and honoring the tradition of Nearest and Jack. So Nearest was an enslaved man at Dan Call Farm, where Jack Daniels worked when he was young. Mm-hmm. And Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels how to distill. So there would be no Jack Daniels if Nearest Green hadn't taught him how to distill. And we're now taking that into the future, that same legacy of this education and the support within the racial climate like that we have, turning that around and really showing that we should just honor each other for our humanity, our talents, our education, and support each other, because we're going to have a better industry because of that.
No, absolutely. Diverse opinions, diverse backgrounds makes everything more interesting, more creative, and a better place for everybody.
I have so many questions. Okay, so you have a $5 million wind at your back to start this program to engage with one of the largest spirits brands in the world.
Yes.
Where you are creating product.
Well, where I am currently just studying, so I am not creating anything. So what they've done. So my goal is to be able to step out of this program and to get a distillation job. Okay. Right. So I want to be a head distiller. I want to be, or, that may turn into distillery manager. It may turn into something a little bit different, but my goal is distillery manager. So the curriculum we've built, the mentors I have, is to lead me towards that distillation job.
Great. That's amazing. I was just, my real question is what are your ambitions after the program is over? My wife gets upset with me for overthinking things and getting ahead of myself, but let's do it.
No, please. Absolutely. No. And that's the thing, is because this is something that's never occurred before. I am helping to create this program, and all I can do is ensure its success by dreaming big, by working hard, by ensuring that when I come out, it's funny because Fawn Weaver calls it microwave distiller. Because I am literally, all I do every day is talk on podcasts, be able to tell people like what's going on with this program, what it actually is, and why we should support it. Mm-hmm. But then I sit down and I'm taking a general chemistry course currently. I have an organic chemistry course lined up after that. I'm earning my white, my yellow, my green Six Sigma. I took my HACCP. I have my OSHA 30-year hour. I'm learning everything that I can that you will need to then step into a distillery and help to guide that spirit and those flavor choices. I'm also heading off to Moonshine University. I went to Catoctin Creek to work with Becky. She is one of my mentors. I'll be at George Dickel. I'm going to Peerless. I'm going to Jack Daniel. I'm going to step into these distillers and work with master distillers who have such an incredible grasp of the science and the art of distillation. And I'm just going to soak it all in.
So that's great. Sorry, Jason.
I was going to say, go ahead, Jason. You go ahead.
Yeah, no. So there's a lot of handshaking going on with the distillery. So there's a lot of cooperation. So you can go visit. Okay, that's great.
Yes, which is what's wonderful. So the timeline has definitely shifted because of COVID, and I want to ensure that everyone is completely safe. So in order to go to Catoctin Creek, I took my COVID test like 3-4 days before. I took it a week, like 5 days before. Got that result about 2-3 days before I was going there, and just from the moment that I take my test, I am on complete quarantine at my home. And then I was able to go there wearing my mask, trying to be as safe as possible when I'm at the distillery, just to ensure that I am not the person who's bringing anything into any distilleries. But it's still a very very dangerous thing. We don't know who's coming in to their visitor center. We don't know who may have been at that distillery for many, many years and may have, or not. There, many people have different situations that compromise their immune systems that aren't visible. So I want to ensure that I'm being safe and protecting everyone around me. So I'm not able to visit distilleries as quickly as I had hoped, but I'm doing everything I can to be safe and get out there and learn as well.
And not to make I think what Jason was going to say was like, you mentioned you were also going to get to go to Dickel and work with them, which I know the master, Nicole, right?
Nicole, yes, who's also one of my mentors.
Yeah, she's incredible. And it sounds like there's so much science to it. I didn't realize how much science was part of distilling until I took the WSET level 3, which really dives deep into like how distillation really works. That's what you do. Like the first, it's a lot. And I was like, holy cow, like my brain was like exploding. So good for you. Like it's a lot of information to understand about like reflux and temperatures and molecules and how everything works together.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've already, before this, I was already studying. Like that's already what fed me. It made me really happy to understand and break down the chemical reactions that were occurring to create flavor.
Yep.
So that's what I'm really passionate about. And this is an opportunity to study those things and then apply it.
That's amazing. So last question on this thing is, if somebody wants to apply for this apprenticeship, how do they do it?
So the website should be up next month. We are running a little bit behind schedule. The way that it happened currently, they are taking recommendations from internal candidates. So people like basically Fawn recommended me to the panel. There is a panel from Jack Daniels and Nearest Green, and they all get together. There is a committee that you have to be approved through, and then you are submitted into the program. So I went through that process, and there is another person coming through that was also a recommendation, but they're going to have the website up where you can apply. What I recommend is really showing, and this is something I can't stress enough, is showing your work. Because right now they are paying for me to just study. I'm not producing anything. I'm not, I am just a vessel that is taking in this resource and this support. And they have to know that I have the ability to take this and turn it into a position, to turn it into a successful career. So because of the things I've done previously, they have that faith in me. And so that's what I really want anyone that's going to apply. Ensure that you can show them how you work and how you take opportunities and turn them on their head to create even more success.
Would you say that there are any parallels between this accelerator incubator and like say what happens in Silicon Valley with software? Like how they throw money at things, but it's not just money. It's about leadership and mentorship and like showing people how to spend the money and how to use the resource.
Absolutely. I actually hadn't made that connection, but I think that that's exactly what this is, because it's providing me every single resource that basically they got a bunch of distillers together and they said, what would you, if you were starting at the beginning of your career, what courses would you want to take? What certifications would you want?
So Constellation Brands acquires Kentucky-based craft spirits producer Copper and Kings. To give you a bit of backstory, Copper and Kings American Brandy was founded in 2014 by beverage industry entrepreneurs Joe and Leslie Herron. They are a company known for their use of small batch copper pot distillation and unconventional methods like sonic aging and Solera blending. Does that sound from apples? A bunch of liqueurs and a whiskey called Brewski, which is distilled from beer from the local brewery. So just a side note on that, it's the proceeds from that are go to Rock the Vote, which focuses on empowering people to vote. So that's a good,
that's wonderful.
Good thing. I remember Rock the Vote when MTV still played music.
Yeah, I mean it's still happening. Like Rock the Vote has been going for decades, right?
Okay.
According to the website, Jason, I was going to say that was their way in supporting Black Lives Matter. It was they felt it was the best way by getting people to vote. They feel like they can get things changed, which I thought was a really smart, which was really good.
Well, because it's about legislation. We know that it has to be in the legislation or nothing gets done. So I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
There's the tide is shifting. I can feel it. So in 2017, Constellation initially made a minority investment through Constellation Ventures, their in-house venture capital firm and incubator. This acquisition is the company's first outright purchase through Constellation Ventures. We've seen a couple of different things that they've been involved in with like craft house spirits, like Charles Jolie's brand, and then they dabble with they bought what's that brewery in San Diego? Ballast Point. Yeah, they own Ballast Point.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
they own a bunch of different. They own a bunch of different little things. So they've been pretty active as a formerly $8 billion company. Now they're kind of it's like the Anheuser-Busch method. It's like, if you can't make it, then you buy it.
Yeah. But that's the question I put in there, Jason, was the fact that like with Anheuser-Busch purchasing companies, and when I work for them, you see, like, do you think with the liquor industry, what people fear is that they change the quality of the beer. And I definitely saw that change. They definitely did some good initiatives. Like when they brought Goose Island, they changed they put safety mandates in, they gave people 401k plans, people had healthcare for really, like they did some great initiatives, but they also scale up, immensely, and they try to do it the best way they can. But I definitely saw some of the more craft brands, like their Goose Island sour beers, which are amazing. Their sour sisters, they made them put them out faster than they should. So yeah, if you got them when they first got on the shelves, it didn't taste good. The good thing is they age in the bottle. So if you got it a year later, it was a much better product. So do we think liquor companies do the same thing?
Well, I mean, isn't that part of the point? Like they want to take these companies over because they want to make money. Mm-hmm. So in the end, they're coming in, they're going to make cuts. But I think that, I hope that some of these companies are able to maybe negotiate for specific rights or maybe some standards in place for their company, because it is their name. Like I love Copper and Kings. I love what they've done. I think they've been amazing and creative, and their products have been really exciting. So I hope that standard doesn't change. I don't know. I'm concerned.
I love, I like Copper and Kings is like an innovation forward company. That's why they make so many different things.
Yeah.
They're just like, I have an idea. Let's do it. Let's roll with it. Let's try something new. And like throw it against the wall, see what sticks. Unlike, like another company that they bought, like High West, which just makes whiskey. I'm not trying to knock whiskey, not trying to knock High West at all, but that's all they do. They focus on the one thing that they do. So I think that's kind of what, if I were a big old company like Constellation, which was big and heavy on wine, which had a huge multi-billion-dollar wine business, and I'd be like, let's buy some innovation, like rather than buying a product. But I don't see apple brandy rolling out like Copper and Kings apple brandy rolling out nationwide tomorrow.
That's very true.
There's no market for it.
Millionaire. I mean, because that making apple brandy is hard. It is hard. Like it relies on a product, an agricultural product. And then we had Lisa on 2 weeks ago, and she's like, if apple season is bad, nothing you can do about. Where their neutral grain spirit is available in tanks all around America. You can manipulate it any way you want. So you can only scale apple consistent. Where
exactly.
You buy a bottle of Tanqueray, it's the same gin, and it has been the best gin and one of the best gins out there in the world for 200 years, and it never changes. So there's a consistency factor that they do bring to the table if they do it well. So I guess you just have to hopefully they know their limits, and they only scale to the point where it doesn't cause quality to be diminished. That's all we can hope for.
That is all we can hope.
You can always rename.
But I think it was a great acquisition. I would say that.
I think so
too. Oh yeah, no, it's a great company. I love Apple. I love Copper and Kings. I met them. They're so nice. They're really
so great.
Super nice people, and they do make great products. All right. So speaking of scaling, the world famous Dante is now selling canned cocktails nationwide. So the world famous Greenwich Village cocktail bar Dante is now canning its cocktails for nationwide delivery, and a new partnership with canned cocktail company Five Drinks Company, who probably is now getting 1,000 calls of everybody going, all right, how do we? Everybody was like, what?
Right.
What? We could sell these nationwide? Like,
right.
I didn't think I could ship out of my own state. How's this week? Like, I'm only doing cocktails.
It sounds like a compliance disaster. Oh,
no, but they're doing it in the right way. If you go on their website, I went to check it out. It says we are distributed by a third-party distribution company. It is made. So basically, they're just using their branding. They created 3 cocktails, and it's just selling them as their own brand. Where Julie Reiner, they made Social Hour, but it has nothing. It doesn't say Clover Club on it. Just uses her name, so it's a different product, but it is nationwide. So you are able to do this. They just figured out the loophole, like everybody does. You're just going to use my name. They created the recipes, and they worked with a company who was already doing it. So they put 3 of them out there, and you can get a 4-pack for $13.99, which is actually pretty reasonable, cheaper than a 4-pack of many of the craft beers out there in the world. Okay. But I have a feeling this is going to force bars in the pandemic to pivot. Like where everybody's adding on to-go cocktails and food on their menus. So is canned cocktails the next evolution? Are we going to start seeing this everywhere? Like every bar is suddenly going to jump on this train.
Well, I think that people have already been putting in bottled cocktails, so this is just that transition. I think that I think to do it on this,
like they probably see your name and they probably know you and they probably follow them in some way. But yeah, I mean, in our world, they're obviously very big, but I don't know how the consumer translates. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. Until you see this in 7-Eleven nationwide, I don't think this is really going to move the needle for the category. It's just my thought. I mean,
it's true. I mean, and it's fighting against hard seltzer, which is much cheaper.
Yeah.
It is, but it's a different market. The one thing I've learned since, as you know, I've gone down the rabbit hole, there are 4 different types. There's like the hard seltzer drinker, which is just like sugar brew, the malt beverage. And then there are the people like trying to make actual cocktails. So there's the same experience you would have at the bar. So there's the same alcohol strength. Cutwater's like that. Cutwater creates, like they have different ABVs, different formulations. It's meant to be the same experience as sitting at a bar and pouring it in. Where other people, like my client, 2 Chicks, they're all 5%. And the reason why they're all 5%, even though it's a Paloma, whatever, is because they want to sell in Walmart and they want to sell, and you have to be below 6% to sell in one of those big stores. So
That's
it's
smart.
all depending on what who your clientele you're going after, and you know, so they're going after. I don't know what the proof is on these. So I was curious. I didn't have a chance to look it up. So they might just be going after that niche market that just drinks craft cocktails, which is a pretty big market these days.
I agree.
Are they covering that kind of stuff, like compliance and stuff within the NJAI? Like, is that part of the coursework?
Well, that'll probably be some of the things. So I've taken a couple seminars on TTB and things like that. So it really basically, I'm building this curriculum because it didn't exist. So I'm building things, getting it approved. They're telling me whether or not they think that's a good course or not. So
yeah, and that's what lawyers are for. I mean, literally, that's what Diageo has an entire team of lawyers, and that's all they do. It's like the TTB. So there's only so many things you can learn, and trying to figure out how the TTB operates would like make your mind explode. So like science alone is enough.
Yeah, you don't want to stifle innovation by saying, "Well, I can't do it because of the rules."
Right. So I'll be the innovator, and then I'll send it over to the legal team, and they'll be like, "Stop that."
Nice. Exactly.
Okay. Speaking of legal teams,
we're going way over time, but
Oh, sorry.
No.
It's all really good stuff. So I don't know if you want to like go to the next story, or do we want to?
I don't know. I hate this story, so I'm gonna throw it out there because it's I am not on the fence on this story. I can't stand it. I think it's terrible. But New York City restaurants are now allowed to add 10% COVID surcharge to your bill. Independent restaurants in New York City will be allowed to charge a COVID-19 recovery surcharge up to 10% of a patron's on-premise tab. The add-on must be listed as a separate line item and must be made clear to the customer that this is not part of their employee's tip. I don't think that people are going to make that distinction. According to the report, NYC is believed to be the only major municipality in the nation to have prohibited restaurants from adding surcharges to customers as regular charges. COVID surcharges have been embraced in a number of other jurisdictions to supposedly help businesses weather the coronavirus crisis with mixed results. There's no surprise there. I don't know about the both of you, but I think that this is only going to hurt the employees in the restaurant business because people are going to undertip or it may stop them from going out at all. How about 10% less compliance? How about 10% less regulation? How about make it 10% easier to own a bar in New York? How about that?
Yeah. Or 10% more support from the government to give to the
absolutely
restaurants and the bars so they can support, especially bars who can't sell food, so they can't open at all.
Yeah.
What about that?
Right. Instead of it going to these weird corporations that are just taking it and still laying off half their company. So
yeah, I don't know about other cities around the country, but I remember like it was a while ago now that San Francisco added 15% or like a 1.5% to make sure that service and hospitality workers had healthcare, and people grumbled a little bit, but they understood, they got it. I don't think they're going to get this. It's already hard enough to do business in New York, and this is a crisis. Like you don't add more to the consumer's burden to support to try to raise money for the money that you already spent. Like it's not independent bar restaurant owners' fault. It's not their burden to create more tax revenue for the city. I don't know. It's supposed to be a moneymaker for the restaurant and put more money in the restaurant pockets. But I don't know, if I sat down as a customer and it was like 10% was added onto my bill, I work in the industry, so I would get it. And I'd be like, all right. And I would never stiff my, the employee, but I bet you a lot of people are going to tip less because they're going to think it's part of the tip. Or because they're on a budget.
Yeah, you're in a
right.
It just be like, wow, that this added, an extra 20, $30 on my bill. I'm going to order less or maybe not go out as often. I don't know. It's going to be, I don't think it's the right solution. They should find a way to add 10% and give back to the restaurants and the bars to support them. So, and I want to know what other cities are doing it. They're saying
so I know that I've seen it here. So I'm in DC, and I've seen it in a couple places where it's basically just it, and they'll put in a little menu like there is a surcharge for COVID-19 sort of practices. So because now they're cleaning more, there's all of these extra steps that's happening. They're changing things a lot. Because of those extra steps, they've added this sort of surcharge. Again, I'm industry, so I don't care. I just look at the end anyways and just tip off of I don't even care.
Yeah.
I don't care what you added. So I honestly haven't really asked how that's going over. And it's not everyone. It's a choice that can be made dependent on the restaurant. So I am curious now that you've brought this up, because I know that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it goes to the restaurant, and I get them, they do need the extra money, but I'm just wondering, are consumers going to accept it? Because now it's become their burden to support the restaurant.
Right.
Well, it's the cost of doing business. If these are things that are required by the government that you have to do, then that is a compliance issue, and you have to spend money to be compliant. But the consumer is not going to put up with that forever. And, and it's like when you think about 10%, it's just like when people have a choice of like, am I going to go to the grocery store and cook food and do dishes and save that 10%? Then a significant part of the population is going to say, yep, I'm going to stay home.
I just think it's more that the wait staff is going to get screwed.
I agree, 100%.
I think they're going to think, oh, this is part of the surcharge, so it must go to the staff, and they're not going to know that it's not part of, even though they're supposed to let them know. I don't think people are going to realize that. So.
Or will they even care?
Yeah. Exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see. I'm all for the restaurants getting more money, but I just don't want the wait staff to get screwed. All right. So UK retailer Majestic has launched its own diversity in wine and scholarship. So UK retailer Majestic has launched, I just said that, which will seek up to 50 candidates from BAM, which stands for Black, Asian, and Minority Ethnic. This is a UK term.
That's like our BIPOC.
I've never heard that one before.
No, it's from the UK. Or diverse backgrounds put them through their WSET level 2, which will be free of charge but no obligation to join the business on completion. The first scholarships will be available this October, and Majestic aims to get up to 24 candidates qualified before Christmas. The online sessions will be taken by Majestic's in-house training team, and all the materials, samples, glassware, and video courses will be delivered to the participants. Oh, that's pretty cool. So we all know the diversity inclusion program is extremely important. I think it's great to see these companies putting their money where their mouth is.
Yes.
And I also like the fact that there's no strings attached, so you can kind of like try it out to see if this is something that interests you and maybe a new career choice. In my opinion, I think the next level they need to add on is mentorship. Like what you're getting right now. So it's like, if you take this program, okay, now what? Like, where do I go next? And how does this turn into a career? So
I agree 100%. And I think that there are a lot of different organizations that have been around or that are coming up in wine and spirits that are focused in on creating educational opportunities, but not a lot of them have that mentorship aspect. And I think that's something that maybe we should really be looking into. So Lynn House and I have been working to create an organization called Tipping for Equity. And our goal is to work with these different companies that are now, not necessarily the companies, but with all of the different smaller nonprofits that are creating diversity in wine and spirits, diversity distilled, like whatever it may be, and just boosting their voice, like amplifying the work that they're doing so that people who are looking for assistance, who are looking for those resources, can find them in an easier way. And I think that with this program, the fact that it's open to pretty much anyone, you're learning whether or not you even like these things. I think that's wonderful, but I think you're right. We need the mentor aspect. Yeah,
absolutely. Have you worked with Samara Jones yet?
Yes, she and I have been friends for a few years now. Yes.
Because I was talking with her, and she was talking about how she's working with companies and show them the marketing opportunity to the population and to the diverse population, and to help them kind of create these new initiatives. And she talked a lot about mentorship. She's like, it's the one thing that's missing, and to create that, put that plan into place. And also Leah Jones, who's diversity,
wine and spirits.
Diversity Wine and Spirits, and she's going to be launching a place where you get like audited, so you have to like put your pledge which I think is really cool.
Yes.
Basically, she's asking companies to put a pledge on this website to show these are the diversity initiatives that we're putting in place. And then so people can go up there and see who's actually doing what. Right. And then the plan is that a year after that, they will go and audit the company to make sure that they actually took the steps that they said they did, which I think would be really cool.
I like that too, because everybody's done that, right? Everyone has this is our pledge. This is what we promised to do, but that's a change in infrastructure. And that's a lot more of an actual, that it's much more difficult than people think, you know, like these companies have been around for generations, and it's going to be really hard to really shift that company legacy, like that structure and internal sort of, I don't know why, what am I thinking? Like that environment that, you know?
Yeah, the structure of the company and how it operates. And one of the things I talked about with them was that, you know, we were talking to Leah and myself and Samara was that, you know, companies right now, some of them are doing it really wrong because they're just relying on people of color within their organization to suddenly become experts about how to create a diversity initiative. And they're like, I don't know, like, you know, I'm not educated. And Samara said something really cool. She said, you know, she and Leah is still in it, but Samara just graduated from the Cornell Diversity. They have a DNIC certificate program. And she was saying, if you're in marketing or work in an organization, I encourage you to have one person, at least somebody go and take the course if you're going to be managing a more diverse group. So you understand this, not only the concept, but also the strategies to put into place. So I think that's really the next way forward.
Absolutely. It's actually a resource that we are presenting as well in our seminar Monday with Tales is the Cornell certificate program. Yes. Cool. It's incredibly powerful, and I think more people should have access to it. So
absolutely. I think it would be a really great thing. So on that note, which I think was a pretty good note to end on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tracie, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on the show with myself and Jason.
My pleasure. Thank you for even inviting me. It was a real honor. Thank you guys.
No, this has been great. So this has been the Industry's Distilled. If you like the show, please hit subscribe and leave a review wherever you can, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have a story or a comment about the show, you can find us at Instagram at Industry Distilled, and a special content bonus on our Facebook page. So the Industry Distilled is written by me, Elaine Duff, and produced by Jason Littrell.
Hi.
Edited and post-production by Danny Messina. Fact-checking by nobody.
Nobody
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Nobody. But we do resource and stuff, but yeah, we just don't check it again. On behalf of Jason Littrell, I'm Elaine Duff, and we will catch you next week.
Bye.
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 Thank you so much for doing this, Tracie.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You must be so busy right now. Oh my God.
It's a lot. It's just a lot because I just don't want to fail. You know, I want to ensure the success of this, and there's so much to learn.
Yeah. Are you on the road? You're on the road a lot?
Well, no, because it's COVID. So I can't, I just will not, it's not worth that. I don't want to bring that. And it's not even me necessarily. I'm pretty sure I had it in March. Like, it was horrifying.
Whoa. Okay. I think we got it in January.
Yeah, really?
My wife was coming back from France, and we were in Seattle for Rocky's memorial.
Yeah.
And I think we got sick right after that.
Yeah. And it was West Coast first, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the sickest I've ever been. Was that like the sickest you've ever been?
Oh yeah. I absolutely couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. My head hurt so badly.
Yeah.
Like, it was horrible.
That's insane. That's insane.
I've been lucky so far.
Good.
Yeah.
Stay lucky.
Yeah,
stay safe. Take care of yourself.
All right, Tracie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, guys.
All right, y'all. See you later. This will be out on Monday morning at
okay,
8
great.
And we'll send you an email.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.